3 weeks ago. Hello to everyone, please excuse my English. I'm Italian. About 3 weeks ago I saw my wife while she was getting out of a car that was from a coworker of hers. Didn't think much of it until I saw her face turn white when she saw me. Since I work a job that gives me little free time, except on weekends, she wasn't expecting my arrival where she works. After that episode I played dumb, pretending that I had no suspects. Gave her a hug and a kiss and after a while left without asking. So, I decided to keep a close eye on her behavior just to see if I was overreacting about my thoughts. Nothing seemed to be out of place. Good bonding, great family nights with kids, etc. We don't go out much because we enjoy staying together, the four of us. Must say she is a great mom. Then last week I decided to repeat the surprise at her job during her lunch break. While I was waiting outside the building she came out with that same coworker. So, I just stood and watched. She got in his car and left, and I followed them thinking to myself how nuts this is. I lost them cause of the heavy traffic, so I decided to go back at her work and wait for them there. They came back with 10 minutes of delay. The break is 1 hour. Waited till she came out and popped up behind her with an "Hello, love." The embarrassment from them was clear. I presented myself wanting to know his name, and then asked what was going on. They tried to play it cool saying that they had gone on lunch like usually. So, without any proofs I had to play it dumb again also this time and pretended that it was okay. Also, to not seem like a freak, a little backstory. We are happily, or I thought so, for over 17 years, and we have 2 wonderful kids, D, 14 and S, 7, both very smart and well educated. Never had serious problems in our marriage. I was her first and only, never even kissed before. And this is what starts to make me wonder. We live in Italy. She is always the same mother and wife as of our married life. But the way she reacted when I first saw them and of all her coworkers always with the same person really lights my fantasy. The only other red flag is when at night for less than an hour she posts and checks out Facebook. But I have her contact and she never puts posts or likes on things that might be alarming. Her phone is never locked, and she leaves it anywhere. Like I said, if it wasn't for this coworker that gets to my sixth sense I would not be so paranoid. I actually told her the other night why she be having lunch with always the same person and not with others. And she just laughed at that, saying that she knew that I was going to ask. What she said was that they are working on some papers that need to be done very soon. So that's why they have lunch together. I think I should cool off for a while and wait. My plan will be to keep my cool and act as nothing is wrong. Then I will check out again at her work with the help of a close friend of mine. He has a motorbike and, in the traffic, there is no problems. In the meantime, I will be more cautious with controlling better the situation. When we first met over 22 years ago, she was 18, I was 24. She was that typical girl who was too much serious, one that would drive away many guys who were looking only for fun. She was a classic home and church girl, never had a boyfriend, and the few that tried to be with her gave up after seeing that she wasn't easy. So, when I first met her I had just finished my military service and immediately realized that she was the one. Long story short, she accepted to date me after 6 months of courtship. And our first kiss happened after 5 dates. After almost 5 years together we got married, 1997, and in 1999 our first girl was born. All was perfect. We did everything on our own without help of our families since they have health issues that need serious medical attention. But we were making it fine. Then in 2007 our second son was born and we bought a new house, and up to now we managed together to be a happy family. No nights out unless all 4 of us are together. I only go out on Wednesday evenings to play soccer with my friends. And many times she comes along with the kids and other wives with these kids to watch. We always go every weekend to our parents' house, once to hers, once to mine. And every summer we go on vacation, all 4 of us. In a few words, I thought we had it all. Now this happens and I am really conflicted about it. Could it be possible? Can't put a VAR in a car because she goes to work on feet, about 20 minutes away, and only uses the car to take the kids at the swimming pool twice a week. The other times I drive it. Don't know nobody that can keep an eye on her at work because they are in good relationships, and if I try to ask, she will be the first to know. This evening I have my soccer game and also that good friend of mine that plays. We know each other since we were 14. He is the brother I never had. I was thinking to ask him a favor. I already know that he won't say no, but also that he will be a bit shocked at my request. I will ask him if he would go at lunchtime and check out the situation. My wife knows that day I can't pop up due to my work. Who knows? I think she understood it immediately, and that was also the reason she turned white. We never dealt with this situation before, never gave each other reasons. What I think is that since she is 40 and had only me in her life, that I hope of, she likes the attention, but in the past, it never happened. She is very attractive. When she was younger many told her that she looked like Sharon Stone. For me she's even better. As for me, I was already independent at 14. When I met her at 24, I had already a full baggage of experiences. Traveled a lot in Europe and also the US, so that's why I fell for her as soon as I met her. Not for her looks but for her ideals. And since we were total opposites, that's also why it took me 6 months for a date. And she started only now to want new things in life, now that her kids are self-sufficient. That's what I think. But you are correct. I need to talk to her about this, but not before my friend does that favor for me. Just got back home. After the game I talked to my friend. I explained to him what I saw and what I was feeling. He didn't even let me finish and said to me that if I wanted he had this week off. He is in the police, and if I wanted to let him help me. From my smile he didn't even wait for me to answer. He said that tomorrow and Friday he would be at her workplace and see what's up, and if there is something happening, he will give me all the info I need, even the other man's address and past history. He also tells me that I should stay calm and patient and pretend that all is fine. Easy to say but hard to do. So, we gave each other a hug and he will call me tomorrow right after her lunch to let me know if what happened. Can't believe I'm doing this. One of the reasons why I married her was because she had great morals. For sure I will not blow out something without solid proof. But if something is going on that I will be certain of, then not even 40 years of marriage will make me change my mind on leaving her. Just got the call from my friend. He waited at a safety distance. She knows him, and by 12:30 saw her get out with 2 other females and 1 male. The coworker. All 4 went to the bar across the road and had something to eat there. He waited until they finished. Once they got out, they stayed a bit together, and first one and then the other female coworker left, and my wife with the OM stayed sitting outside on the tables talking. He said they were very confident, not like a usual coworker usually behaves. After that she walked him to that car of his and after a cheek-to-cheek kiss, he left and she went back in. My friend got his license plate and model and then left. He said that tomorrow he will be there again. And if something doesn't convince him, he said that Monday he will have one of his men take over. When I asked him if there was something that he thought was wrong, he answered no. He then told me to stay cool. If something going on, he will find it. I believe him. He is in a special police unit and they are no joke. I have no intentions on letting her know anything. Not going to ask nor going to make her suspicious. I'm playing it dumb. Our lunch times are different, because my boss needed a ride near her workplace, so I surprise her. That's when it was the white face, and that's why I decided to return again almost a week after. I had a coworker of mine that covered my back for 1 hour. That time again they were together. A bit embarrassed. The third time was yesterday, but it was my friend who saw and called me. Today he will repeat it. Yes, she has seen me a little pissed a week ago when I first saw it, but I think that since then I kept it cool. In fact, she acts normal at home when we are together. Doesn't seem to suspect that I am keeping an eye on her. I have been checking her Facebook profile. That man is not in her contacts, and she only has 5 or 6 other male contacts but family friends. She never logs out of her Facebook. I truly loved her to the point that I already knew she was the one to share my life with. Ever since we lived a wonderful life. Our kids are the proof by the way they are raised. My D15 is on the top 10 of the school best students out of 18. My S7 is on the same road. They see a good family unit and live it that way. In over 17 years of marriage we probably fought, a bit more seriously. The most 5 times. In these years she had hundreds of men trying to get to her, and never once give them the chance to even know her name. So, if on one hand we need to talk about boundaries, on the other it's if me telling a plumber how to change a tube. But if nothing comes out of all this in a week, I need to tell her what I feel anyways. I only found out about this guy 2 weeks ago. She usually tells me everything that goes on at work. Never mentioned this guy. I don't know if it was only twice or more times that they have lunch, only them 2. But for sure she's with him 3 out 3 the times I started to wonder and keep an eye on. Today I wonder if it will be number 4 in a row. For me a deal breaker is also sharing an emotional attention with other men. I just finished talking with my friend. Not good. First thing, he didn't call me. He came by my workplace. Just that got me a bit upset. His eyes didn't look straight at mine, and I knew he felt sorry. So, this is what happened. He got there just when she was coming out the building with a group of coworkers, and yes, the other man also. After a few minutes the group split up, some went to the same place of yesterday. But my wife and the other man decided to go otherwhere. They started walking and were laughing and kidding the whole time. When he saw that they passed the car of the other man without getting in, my friend parked his bike and followed them from distance. 15 minutes after they stopped at fast food nearby, bought a sandwich and sat on a bench. Once they finished, they started to talk. The other man seemed concerned with something, and what my friend got out off of it was a very confident body language from both. He even passed his hand on her cheek on one occasion and held her hand for a few seconds on another occasion. She didn't mind at all. After that they started to walk back to the building 15 minutes before the break was over and then went inside. He said that there were many signs of confidence between them. He said that he didn't like the way she behaved, that there's something more going on. He took some pics of them, unfortunately not the one where he touched her, but good enough to get me pissed. He also said that Monday he will have a coworker of his to check out again. While he was still talking to my friend, my wife calls me on the cell. God knows where I got the strength to stay calm. Once a month on a Friday, the weekend that we go at her parents' house, she goes ahead of time to help out her brother that takes care of them. Like I wrote before, they have health issues just like my parents. We were to go next weekend, but her brother called saying that if it was possible to switch weeks, and she wanted to know if it was okay. Sure, the only thing I managed to say, and I took it as a sign of God to give me time and not overreact. So before I get home, she will be at her parents' house in a town 1.5 hours away. And I will see her only tomorrow afternoon when I get to be there with my D15. She takes D7, so I guess that my wife has some kind of double life. We are her stability, her lunch instead is more than a break. I will try to make this weekend the same as always. Can't confront yet until we get back on Sunday evening. I know for sure she is going to her parents. It's nothing new. We pass all our weekends out of city to go visit hers and mine. She called again just to say that S7 and her are on the bus. I spoke with S7 and he was happy as usual. I won't do nor say nothing until Sunday evening when it will be just the two of us. I don't want to upset the weekend cause nothing good would come out of it. I need more proof before exploding. For sure my kids should not be around when I confront, and this is impossible during the weekend. My intentions are to keep my mind occupied. My brother-in-law has some land and I will be going there to work on it, helping him out. And that will help me keep my mind busy. Also, I don't want to let her know yet what I do know. I need to think clearly. I need to study this situation better. Can't think straight. I need to stay calm. Very calm, because when something bothers me, I show it. So, I need to concentrate on myself so that tomorrow she won't notice nothing. The worksheet remains in her office. They don't give a copy. There is much surveillance, and every outgoing office needs to be badged. I think that something physical has happened. Probably not every day, but once in a while, yes. And I think that they make it some kind of side satisfaction just for a distraction. I think that it's only something that they need as a vent valve situation. Don't know if I can explain it better. I think that neither of them wants a divorce and go live their lives in fantasy land. My wife is all a woman would want. A good husband, fantastic kids, a great job and nice house. No problems that I know of. Now, if all that I think is true, the problem will be me. Because even if we have all of this, it will be too much of a deal breaker. Anyways, I'm cooling off. I think that I will take my D15 out tonight for a pizza. She makes me smile always, and I need it right now. In about 1 hour she will call me when I get home. She always does when she leaves on Fridays to see if I got home safe. I also do a dangerous job as a security guard. Then again before she goes to bed for the good night also with my S7. I will tell her that I'm taking D15 for a pizza and in the meantime hide my emotions. Yesterday when I got home I got the call from my wife. She was a bit sad. Turns out that my brother-in-law needed her over cause he was having problems with my mother-in-law and had a hard time dealing with her. He didn't want to say it on the phone to not upset her. My mother-in-law has a beginning of Alzheimer and also of dementia. She is 82. My father-in-law had a stroke last year. He is 90 years old and is in bed since then. That news caught me off guard, so we ended up talking about how to handle the situation. Then I told her that me and D15 were having pizza night for dinner, and she thought it was a great idea. So, after that me and D15 went out and had a blast. Like I said, we have a great relationship and she confides me everything. Then on our way back home, out of the blue, she asked me if I was willing to tell her what was wrong with me. Yes, I need to work harder on hiding my emotions. I told her that I was a bit stressed out from work and the earlier bad news got me a bit sad. Don't know if that convinced her. Around midnight we got back home and went to bed. I called my wife while I was lying in bed and we chit-chatted a bit. Said that the situation was better and they were all in bed. She had our S7 lying next to her sleeping. Today we will all meet up and I will personally see how things are. My friend thought to go at OMW and pretend he was me. In the meanwhile, I would be with my wife. He would tell the OMW that has proofs of an inappropriate behavior with my wife, and before taking action she should know about it. At that point all we need to do is wait. OM will probably call my wife while I am with her. From there on we will see what happens. We will take it from there. Small update. Had a very interesting weekend. When I arrived got a great hug from D7 and wife. Said afternoon and evening went down okay. My mother-in-law seemed to feel better. Medicines calmed her down, and a little of stress went away. Had a talk with my brother-in-law that told me he was sorry for asking to switch week. So without me asking he confirmed that it was him. But for a moment he was thinking to take mother-in-law in a clinic and needed my wife to watch over father-in-law. Fortunately, it all calmed down and things got better. So, in the end all went well on that side. Saturday night after the kids were in bed, me and wife laid down on our bed, cuddled and had a good night. She initiated. After a while we were cuddling. I couldn't not ask a question. It was hard not to. So, I asked if she is happy with our marriage, and if there would be something that she could change, what it would be. She hugged me tighter and smiled, answers that it couldn't be better. Now here is where she caught me off guard. She also said, I just wish that you will always be there for me like now. Why wouldn't I? Cause at 40 I'm starting to have health problems too early. What? Now, just to add something, a little over a year ago she found out that she became celiac. It's nothing big, but it kind of created a little of confusion in our family in the beginning. So now it's no big deal. Then she had other small issues, but again no big deals. Anyway, I told her how much she meant to me and nothing in the world will ever change that. And then to just make a joke to laugh said of course my only issue would be if you cheated. Never crossed my mind was the answer. After a bit we fell asleep. Sunday was a rainy day, so we stayed home till it was time to head back home. The day ended without any new situations. So now while I am at work I'm wondering what will happen when my friend's coworker call. With my friend we decided just to keep the surveillance and only put our plan in action when I decide to confront. If I confront, this coming week will be clearer, I hope. With my friend we agreed to go with our plan only when and if she gets busted red-handed. In the meanwhile, I just need to keep my guard up. I agree with who said that I need to date more and work less. If she is having some sort of an affair with this OM, I would be more shocked as the way she manages to hide it and keep up a family good life than the cheating in itself. Another day without surprises. Don't know if I should be happy or not. Got at her place around 12:20 and kept myself at a safe distance. I saw the other man come out with 2 male coworkers and they walked away. Not even 5 minutes after my wife with 3 female coworkers came out and crossed the street to have lunch at that place from the day before. Only the 4 of them. So, I waited a bit and was undecided to what to do. I thought about calling her on the cell, or just walk over there and surprise her. But I didn't think it was a good idea. So, I just stood there watching until they finished and went back in. I stayed a bit longer to see if other man would show up, but it didn't happen either. So, I wasted my time for something that didn't happen. I went back to work and finished my day as usual. Now I'm home typing here and to be honest quite sorry for myself for feeling this way. I made a decision now. I will let this week go by without torturing myself. I need to relax, otherwise my negativity will reflect on my kids. I did have a talk with my friend before coming home. He agreed that I stay put for now, and that he would take care of the situation without involving me. That made me smile a bit and made me understand what a good friend he is. In the past I was the one who always helped him and others. His plan is simple. He said that if something comes up during this, he takes pictures, then hand them to me. At that point the original plan will be put in action. He will go to OMW and inform her while I will be with mine, and then he would give me a call to say it's done and whenever I'm ready to confront my wife at that same moment. Instead, if he sees something that is getting way too far, anything physical in the car for example, he would bust them interrupting them, recording while doing so, and that won't give them a chance. 1 month later, some good news and some bad. The bad news is that on the 25th of January my father was hospitalized for a cardio effusion. Hope I translated it right. Now things seem better. So, all my free time has been with him and still is. The good news is that there has been a terrible misunderstanding with what my wife was doing. There is no affair going on, and I do have a great friend. So where to start? First thing, my dad is always in ICU but is feeling better. He got me worried a couple of times but it seems that all is under control. Still under attention but okay. Instead with my wife things turned out a bit different from what I thought. Apparently, my friend did not go out of town for work that weekend, Friday till Monday, like he said he would. Instead, he stayed and did an investigation service which he had planned without telling me. Turned out that my wife that Friday got in other man's car. He followed them to a normal building full of offices and studios. He waited till they got out and followed them inside the hall. My wife knows him so he stayed at a safe distance. They got inside the elevator with other people, and he only noted the floors the elevator went before stopping. The elevator had stopped in 3 different floors. He then waited outside and after a little bit more than a half hour they came back down. My wife had papers and she was watching them with other man. Then he gave her a hug and they went back to work. My friend then looked up what was on the floors of the building from his office. 1 floor had 2 private apartments. 1 floor had a gynecological practice and a private apartment and 1 was only dedicated to an engineering firm. His suspects were obviously for the gynecological practice. He did further investigations and it turns out that at the gynecological practice worked the other man's wife. She is a gynecologist. My friend had all the info he wanted, but since I was having problems with my father, he decided to tell me only after the danger was over. I then talked to my wife. I didn't say nothing of what was going on. I only told her that friend saw her with other man while she was entering a building, and this time in a calm voice told her what's going on, and I did not mention the part of OMW. In a few words, other man was helping my wife. My wife was looking for a gynecologist because she wanted to understand the problems that she was having. Other man told her about his wife and she accepted first to meet her and then to be her patient. She had symptoms of menopause and never told me about it. She said that she was afraid that I would get upset and change. She told me that other man was giving her rides to his wife's studio on hours that she was free. That other man, knowing the problem, was only being gentile. I found about this after I told her that I found it strange that she would always be with him on car rides during lunch. She cried at the thought that I suspected her having an affair and apologized for not telling me what really was going on. Well, in a few words, this is the story. I feel a bit guilty for not telling her about the surveillance and the whole drama I was going through, but as soon as things get better, I count on doing so. It started when one of her female coworkers knew about other man's wife, and she suggested to ask other man if his wife was okay to get an appointment out of work hours. He didn't know about the problem. He just talked with his wife and she said that it was okay. Told him when my wife could stop by. Other man offered her a ride. This wife that first time. OMW did her visit and told her what she needed to have, such as blood tests. Other man knew what was going on only when he saw my wife upset and sad after one of the latest visits. My wife is only 40, so she was plenty upset when she found out that she really has this problem. According to her, she told him in that moment of weakness, and he suggested to talk to me and told her to not worry. If he in the meanwhile was playing a double game, I don't know, but doing so well with OMW. My wife has a female coworker that she knows from years. She also has the celiac disease just like my wife. Back in October, my wife first talked with her coworker complaining about the way she was feeling and the suspects she was having. So this friend of hers told her that other man has a wife that is a gynecologist and that she is pretty good at her job. She has a private studio with another doctor. At that point, my wife asked other man if she can have the cell number. Other man told her that he was heading at her office and that if she wanted, she could meet her personally and talk, and my wife agreed. This was the first time in October. My wife said that they only talked to know each other better, and that my wife would eventually contact her for an appointment. The OMW has working hours that don't match with my wife's hours, and the OMW said that she would arrange the appointments when she was in the studio and close to public. The first appointment was in mid-November and she went there with the female coworker. The second was by the end of November, and that time she went with other man because he was to meet OMW for other reasons. The 3 appointment was in December when I saw her get out of his car. White face. The 4 appointment was after I saw them again almost 2 weeks after. The bench story. When my friend got involved and caught them on the bench, not in a park but on a city bench. I am guessing it was when she had received the news of confirmation for menopause that other man handed to her from the OMW. When I will ask for further info, this episode will be resolved also. 2 weeks later, I have not confronted fully. We are still at the point on what she told me and what she thinks I only know. Friday, we have an appointment made upon my request. I only told her to bring all the papers, because I needed to talk with OMW. When I will have a perfect match of timelines and papers, I will confront my wife once outside. I think that it's close to be an emotional affair. I find it hard to believe it would be a physical affair. Also because her guilt would be more obvious. She knows I can see trough things. She sensed that I am pissed, but with what is going on with my dad, and this last week also my mother, she doesn't know for sure for what. So, to sum the whole situation, Friday will be an important day for me. Talking with OMW will give me many answers. The other answers I will have from confronting her of what I know on our way back home. On these past days she has been helpful with my father. Also very close to me on days where it seemed that my father was in danger. I also had an intensive stress at work, but now slowly I'm feeling better. So, Friday I take off from work to go with my W at OMW office. I had told my W that I only had 2 hours, then I needed to go back at work. It was a little white lie. I had the rest of that day covered just in case for something unforeseen. When I arrived, she kept telling me that since she told me everything already, it was weird to go there again. I just answered that I needed to meet OMW also to have more info to face this problem. She was okay with that but felt a bit embarrassed. Anyway, we arrive at OMW office and I felt as that lady was examining me. First thing she said was, "What's the pleasure of this visit?" with a grumpy face. I was pissed already on my own and I simply responded, only to finally meet the doctor that is taking care of my wife, and also to know what I can do to help. "Is this a problem for you?" OMW said that since my wife and her had already talked about everything, she just didn't understand why we needed to meet also. Because I love my wife and I wanted to understand. I grabbed the receipts and put them on the table and said, for example, all these visits made in the past months. And I had known only recently the reason why. She first looked and then confirmed all the visits and in an unpleasant way added that it was up to my wife to let me know things and not her. I stayed calm and said, yes, you are right, and I guess that I must thank your husband for this also. She looked at me as if I was crazy. My wife did also. I said if it wasn't for him that accompanied my wife at almost every single visit, she wouldn't have known about her problems. And yes, I agree that this was something that my wife needed to share with only me instead with your husband. That put a question mark on her forehead. In that moment I was like possessed and enraged, and I went on asking if she was okay allowing her husband being so kind with other women. Needless to say, she said that now she understands the reason why my wife doesn't talk with me about certain things, and that I am maybe an insecure person. I just smiled, and while I was getting upset to her, or maybe I now know why your husband seeks to help other women. Have a nice day, and I left. I heard my wife apologize to her, and then she came out following me and asked what was all that about. I told her that I knew everything, that she and other man had crossed the boundary, and that I was really pissed. She was in complete shock, then began to explain that other man was only a good friend and was helping. He doesn't know what her problems are. She never told him. He just thought that she was worried for something more serious. I said, is that why he hugs and kisses you on a public bench where everybody can see? Or maybe that's the reason why they are often on their own during lunch breaks. She kept on saying that nothing was out of order, that all was just innocent, and that she has no feelings nor desire for other men. Actually, she seemed almost flattered by my jealousy. At that point I asked her a question. Was it normal that other man was helping instead of me? Was it normal me not knowing what was going on? She said that she wanted to be sure before alarming me, and that she didn't think that she not respected me. I said that after 18 years it worries me that you don't know what respect is, so I will show it to you my way. She was questioning me for the meaning of that, and I said that it was time for me to get back at work and we talk after. My comment. Final ending coming this afternoon. Sub and bell if you want to reach it as soon as possible.